There, Maverick Traders, this is Imri and welcome to today's Market Roundup. Well, today was an interesting day in the markets and there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Okay, so first off, equities were getting clobbered there for the early part of the trading session before rebounding strongly. Now, equities technically did close down on the day, but from a technical analysis standpoint, I'd say this was a pretty good day for the bulls if they're looking to stage a bit of a comeback. That being said, the big story of the day was not in equities, not even in fiat currencies really, but more so in cryptocurrency. Ethereum, Litecoin, a lot of the major market cap coins had a big day today. And if you look at this graph down here, you can see the outperformance of cryptocurrency relative to the other asset classes we keep track of. In terms of fiat currencies, however, the dollar just remains a bid. It remains quite strong. So here we have the S&P 500 index, and you can see this nice lower wick here on this candle. Again, that's an encouraging sign from bulls. We might be creating a little support zone there off of 3,700. I'd be interested to see if we can punch above this red moving average here in tomorrow's trading session. And keep in mind, this is a daily chart. Over in the total world stock index, it was kind of a similar story. The RSI hasn't really caught up to the turnaround in this ETF, however, so we haven't seen the momentum kind of turn upwards, but that's okay. The RSI is a lagging indicator. I'm curious to see if the ETF again can test the 20-period moving average down here, coming in at 85.60. And then here we've got cryptocurrencies. So big day overall, but in the context of the last several weeks worth of, or last few weeks worth of trading, you can see it doesn't look all that impressive. So one day of relative outperformance isn't enough for me to say we should rush out and buy right now. But I have a feeling we're getting close. I'm not sure if the structure, here with these trend lines breaks. It looks like it's going to be either a base of some sort that's going to lead to a drop lower, or potentially a springboard, for prices to break higher. Now, I know that sounds obvious. Obviously, prices are going to move up or down. But what I like about these trend lines is that they give me a very clear idea, of what kind of boundaries to track. So I think we'll know pretty soon. Of course, the third possibility is that we just stick with this range-bound kind of trading where, we're going to sell off once the index retests these prior areas of resistance. So if you're looking to go long, the crypto market as a whole, I think your window's pretty short if you're keeping an eye on this basket. I think you might have a day or 2 days at most out of that trade. So it's okay to play that if you want, but I think you have to do it on a lower time frame basis and expect to be very nimble. Okay, so the market outlook, we're pretty much between the moving averages for the most part. We're a little underneath them right now, but I just don't see a lot of momentum one way or the other. If we can crack that 3,700 level, then I think we're going to see a test of 3,600, so another well over 100 S&P points to the downside. On the upside, however, we've really got to crack 3,900, which should take us out of this parallel channel that I've got. In terms of data events, well, tomorrow's going to be interesting. We've got consumer sentiment and retail sales. So why is that important? Well, it's going to be, I think the market's going to be paying attention to this because they're going to be curious to see how consumer sentiment has been impacted. Let's see if these Fed rate hikes have played a role in slowing down retail sales. So that's definitely a sector that could feel some pain in the months ahead. But for that sector to get hit, the U.S. consumer has to start behaving differently. So that's exactly why the market's going to be paying attention to those news events tomorrow morning. Now, taking a look at currency analysis, first off, we've got cryptocurrencies. So the star of the show today was an Ethereum, followed by Solana, then Litecoin, Bitcoin, Cardano, and Bitcoin Cash. So ETH really had the big move today. Same with Litecoin and Solana. It's too early for me to say whether a definitive long-term bottom is in here in the crypto markets. My gut says maybe not quite yet, as much as I would like that bottom to be in. But from a short-term trading perspective, there might be something there on pullbacks. But again, I think the window to play those trades is relatively small, too small for my trading plan. Over in fiat currencies, it's really interesting. We saw some divergence here in the commodity currencies. The Canadian dollar underperformed, while the New Zealand dollar and the Aussie outperformed. The dollar outperformed also, and the yen got absolutely clobbered, with the European currencies not doing much at all. So from a relative strength and weakness perspective, I think we have a pretty clear-cut idea here in terms of what we can pair up. And on the velocity side of things, the European currencies, as expected, not having had a lot of movements today in their respective baskets, also don't have high or weak velocity scores one way or the other. The CAD and the yen are weak on the velocity side, whereas the dollar and the Kiwi are stronger, and the cryptocurrencies are all quite strong as well. So now as we take a look at some potential trades, first up, I've got Kiwi yen here. So on the daily chart, we broke through the 20-period moving average here, which I think is a fairly significant event. I'll be curious to see, if we get a pullback here, whether that pullback is going to materialize into an opportunity to go long here. So I really like how after this sustained sell-off, we've kind of broken back above these moving averages, found support on them, and we're now trading higher. So I would like to see that orderly pullback on the 1 hour chart. From a chart pattern perspective, we have this kind of larger inverted head and shoulders as well, which could serve as a nice catalyst to push prices up. So in the basket, I really like this resistance area around 86.60. If we can trade our way there in Kiwi yen, sorry, not in the basket, in the currency pair. If we can trade our way to 86.60 or so, that would be a fantastic trade if we get the right setup. And then on the dollar side, dollar CAD finally had some nice escape velocity to break through this long-standing resistance area here. It looked like we might be putting in a triple top. I do expect higher over the coming, coming days, if not the next couple of weeks. But as you can see on the 1 hour time frame, we have pulled back quite a bit. So I'm looking for this pullback to stabilize. Let's see if there's an opportunity to play the currency pair long as we head into tomorrow's US data. That would be in an ideal world. So those are the two currency trades that I'm looking at the moment. So to wrap up, a strong dollar remains the dominant FX theme. Look, I've been calling for this dollar rally to end. So my timing on the end to the rally has been off. I've definitely been wrong on that. But what I don't think I'm wrong about is that once this current bullish cycle in the dollar completes, we're going to have a multi-year correction in the dollar, and the dollar is going to give back a lot of its gains. The last time I looked at the dollar index, DXY, it was up over 19% year to date. That is, that's just stunning. So the unwind, of that trade is going to be equally stunning, I think. In the short term, however, just make sure you're pairing up relative strength and weakness. Ensure that velocity is on your side too, and continue using some of these high impact news events as catalysts for volatility, but only if you're able to actively manage those trades and keep an eye on them leading up to the news event and then immediately afterwards as well. So that's all I have for you guys for today. Thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing you next week.